G'day guys and girls, welcome back to Sidequest Gaming, where we take a look at both old games and new to uncover some of those little hidden gems you might want to give a crack and try out for yourself. Today we're taking a look at a title called Hell Clock. We're looking at the demo that came out as part of Next Fest, and we're going to give it about 20 to 30 minutes of gameplay and see what we think and see whether it's something that you might want to add to your wish list and try out for yourself. I've spent probably about 4 to 6 hours with this game so far, and I've been solidly enjoying it. Sorry, I take it back. I've spent 2.5 hours. It's felt like longer. It's got a really good gameplay loop. Rather than starting a new game, we're going to dive into the one that I've already got going because you do unlock a lot of things as you go. So let's dive in. It is a roguelike, and it is time-based in terms of how you go through the loops. So it is very much about completing the dungeon in a set amount of time before the timer elapses, and then you automatically kind of die. Alright, so we are set in this really interesting setting that is kind of just after a revolution. Now these are our main little characters here that we can talk to, and you know, they kind of give us a bit of exposition and dialogue, but essentially the gameplay loop hinges around loot, skills, and unlockables. So over here we've got our different it's basically our shop where we can buy some upgrades each run. Our dude Paju over here is equipped with some various things, and we will always have this pistol. So we're going to upgrade our pistol this round so that we've got a few more extra shots. We have a bunch of soul shards down here, which are what we use to... It's basically our currency, it's our coins. So we have different abilities that we unlock by spending money, and we can equip them down here. So right now what I've got equipped is I've got this kind of like rapid shot that's just bang, bang, bang. Really cool art style on that shooting effect there. I've got like a whirlwind spin, I've got a dash, and we've got like a little slow time and a heal bubble on me here. Now, if we open the Reliquary, this is where we've got our artifacts that we unlock at the end of each run, and we can equip these in our character. We've only got so many that we can wear at any one time, and they have kind of buffs and effects that carry us over for the duration of the run. Usually, this is very much around affecting one particular ability. So as we can see here, this one affects our Tempest, our spin, our kind of knife spin attack, whereas this one affects that repeater one that we've got. Right now we've got the ones that are all hooked on that spin, but let's swap these out a bit. We're going to put the one on that does the repeater because I like that quite a bit, and obviously this is controlled by how we can lay things out with their size. So like that's another repeater one. We're going to throw that in there, and I'm actually going to drop out these two here. You don't really need it. You kind of learn these as we go, and I'm going to put this one on that increases our fire damage. So basically our guy should do a whole lot of extra damage when we're shooting, and it should burn people when we do it. Over here we've got our upgrade tree, so we can respec at 190 little crystals, but we can also have 2 available points that we can put in. We can increase the timer, we can increase our gain, we can increase our life. We'll put 1 into life over here, and we will put 1 into I guess we'll go more base life. Life sounds good. Alright, let's dive into the run. So the run, let's give it a... We go down here and we descend, and the goal is to get deeper and deeper and deeper into the labyrinth. Up the top left, you can see our clock that starts kicking down, so we've got 10 minutes. And when we get a certain amount of kills each turn, we get to unlock an upgrade. Now, we can redraw these each time. Unfortunately, you can see that there's nothing that really is my main shooting attack here. I'm going to go for our spin attack there. And we just start collecting little bits and bobs. This is a procedurally generated dungeon every time we go down here. So there will be things that are similar, there will be things that are different. We need to collect gold. That is a loot goblin over there that we wanted to get. And we get little trinkets, and these add to our like cooldowns, and basically just... They stack to make our abilities go faster or do more damage as we go. Here we go. So we're gonna really double down on this devastating barrage here. Just everything that we can get that hits that repeater, we're gonna put them on. Because as you can see, we just do so much damage with that gun. We're still very early into the game. Like, we have not got very far at all. So we don't have a huge amount of unlocks, but we have increased our timer a bit and we've increased some of our abilities. Alright, unlock the chests. Really good sound design on the, like, when we get the money and when we get the other pickups. It's got quite a good little dopamine hit each time. There's a bit of a elite. He went down pretty quick. As we said, we're doubling down on this one, so we're just going to increase the damage we do there with our main shooting. Now, it does use mana for each ability. Mana is this one down here on the bottom right. Because I've kind of decked myself out so much that in reducing the mana cost and increasing the amount of mana we have, you don't really notice it go down. We can go mana, elemental damage, or move speed. Let's go elemental damage. What you will also notice is on the left-hand side there, my health has like a little glowy bar around it, I think, like the little blue bar. That's called conviction. What conviction is a bit of like a passive shield. And the reason my conviction is so high is whenever I spend mana, so whenever I shoot or use an ability, my conviction will go up slightly. So it means that basically every time I'm attacking anything, I'm getting a bit of a passive shield. This is a little bit of a floor boss that we're about to face here. You can see up the top left, we've got this wave survival going on. And we have to defeat every enemy wave, and then it will wind up with kind of like a boss guy that we need to fight to complete this little area. Taking a little bit of smack in there from some of the guys. You see my mana ran out there, so I actually have no ability to shoot. So, like, even though it was feeling infinite before, it is, if I just hold down the fire key and go it doesn't work for me. And all my abilities come from that same mana pool. So it does mean that if you don't manage that meter, you can just wind up kind of having to run away and try to recover and regen. Okay, there's the boss dude. He's dead. Died very, very fast. We are on a very early floor so far. So the first time you play him, it takes a bit longer. This little statue is another buff. But we do have to pay for these buffs. And you can see our dollars down the bottom right. So let's go with damage again. So the fire damage our gun's dealing should do more. And down we go to floor 4. Keep on the pain. Now there is a balancing act that we are playing with the whole time here. Ooh, enemy explosion area. Hell yes, that's what we want. The balance that we are playing with is that each level does have, I wouldn't say hidden nooks, but there are like, you know, chests and things that are around that you can access. But they take obviously time to go collect. Like, I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about. Up this top left, there is a pathway we can explore. We're going to go up here. So this is obviously taking time away from our clock by doing this to go up here rather than just pursuing the objective. Now, each time you go down a floor, the enemies get better, the loot gets better. All those things get better. So it is a bit of a balance of trying to collect everything you can on a floor versus trying to push as deep as you can go in any particular run. So let's... Oh, hello. What's up here? That's a loot goblin. Got him. Nice. There we go. We got something good. By the sound of it, I'm not sure what it was. Let's push down this end as well while we're here. See if there's anything worth grabbing. Yes, a gold chest. Okay. As I said, relatively different, like similar runs each time, but with slight variations. Let's just whack all these guys down. Satisfying impact of the guns. It feels good. One thing I did do... Oh, see, now I can't afford these ones. That would be great. Add lightning or plague damage to the gun. That would be amazing. But I don't have the money. So we're just going to go with the physical damage. Now, I did rebind the keys so I control with WASD and I shoot with where I point. The initial control for me did have it on... did have it so that it was wherever I clicked, I walked and I shot. And that was really problematic for me because I kept kind of running at the enemies instead of shooting them. Okay, grab all that. Potions there. Now, potions are on the 1 key there, so you can upgrade so that you get more out of your potions. Really, once what I found is the potions, once I start using them, I'm already kind of dead because they only heal a portion of my health, and like the health just drops so quickly when I start to die that it doesn't really... very rarely do I actually manage to use them well. But I think that's partially to do with the kind of build and the way I've been leveling up my character. Alright, finish off these little guys. Just clear out a bit. Get... Oh, another one that I can't afford. Let's go life. That's another loot goblin there. Get that. Nice. Not picking the ones... I'm going to re-roll this because I don't want any of those. There we go. Devastating barrage plus 50% damage. Hell yes. That was a worthwhile re-roll. Now, the re-rolls do increase in cost each time, so you've got to be careful not to sink too much money into that because you do wind up just completely unable to afford anything. And if you get into the point where you can't afford anything, you don't get any upgrades and your run's pretty much over. Alright, dive down, dash, get in there a bit quicker. Alright, just absolutely knock them down with my machine gun revolver. Okay. Whoa, okay, that was a lot of Shadowhound things. It is just splashy and explosive all the time. You barely see what's happening, but it's kind of great for meeting the purpose of what the game is like that. I might actually just see if there's anything down here for loot purposes. Nope, that was a bust. 5 minutes 30 on the clock. Now, there is a game mode that's more casual, one that turns the clock off. I think that would be enjoyable if you just wanted to play through this game once and then never come back to it. It does defeat the entire purpose of the kind of trying to upgrade to push deeper and deeper into the levels each time. So, floor 7. Clock is frozen because we are at a floor boss. So this is kind of like a stronger boy. I should be able to really knock this guy down, though, with my equip. Alright, let's drop a time bubble there. That puts some debuffs on him, and there we go. Got him. And grabbed everything. Okay, now we get a... This is like kind of one of those artifacts that we get to carry on to the next run. So each knife, double knives don't slow you down. Hitting enemies with Shadow Dash increase damage by an additional 20%. Ooh, let's go with this one, Scout's Medal. And then, once again, not what we wanted, any of those, so I am going to re-roll it. And awesome, crit chance, so we can start increasing the crit chance on our main weapon. Let's head on down. Okay, lower caves. So you can see that their maps are starting to change it up, which is great with enemy types changing. There we go. Got this weird worm thing. Some elite. Okay, what are we going to grab from there? Still not loving any of these. I'm just going to start spending money. Ah, nothing I wanted. Let's go. The dash. That does mean we're less likely to get what we want in the future, just because we don't have the money to do the re-rolls. Alright, diving. You can see the enemies are taking a bit more of a beating before they go down, though. So this is why it's so important to stay on top of that curve with your damage output. And I am starting to take some significant damage here. Alright, grab some money. Oh, loot goblin. I'm not really doing much to him, though. Take a potion there. Ah, did I get him? Almost. Ah, come on, yes! Got him. Nice. He took a pounding, didn't he? Okay. Take a potion. And take another one, get my health back up. These things that they're shooting do a hell of a lot of damage to me. Okay, got them. Nice. Now, which way are we going to go? Down here? What's that? Ooh, a molten relic. Yeah, repeated damage to fire. Sounds good. Go through here. Another floor. Get in a bit deeper. Terrible shot. Shrine of Protection. Okay. Starting to really whittle them down. Get the range guys. Okay, focus in. These range guys are horrible for me. Get those. I really am hoping I pick up some... Ah, there we go. Health pots so I can take one. Okay. Level up. Woo! Oh, not what we wanted. Do I redraw? I said I wouldn't, but I will. That was terrible. Not what we wanted. Okay. Oh, one of the loot goblins. We want him. Let's go get him. I think we're going to get him. Yes. One dead loot goblin. Amazing. Alright, nice. Push on in. And elites. Now, let's start talking about some of the gameplay mechanics while I start to lose focus. I think you can build a really good synergy around one or two abilities in this game. However, that is also the biggest kind of detriment to this game. The synergies mean that all your other abilities sort of feel like they start to become pointless in many ways, because right now, like, I'm just doubled down on the repeater. So if I'm not shooting with that main weapon, all my other abilities do next to nothing. Like, that they work, but they're not... There's no real point me focusing on them, because that's what my build's around. And although there is some satisfaction in that, it really isn't a... It doesn't encourage you to be really focusing on using all those different abilities and skills. So it really becomes kind of a one-trick pony per run. You kind of pick what you're going to try and double down on. You roll the dice with the RNG that you're going to get those upgrades whenever you... one or two. Like, you can kind of afford to look at probably two. Like, you could have right and left trigger. Like, you know, I could have the spinning knives and the main repeater. But for the most part, I think to try and go much more than that, you're going to be very unsuccessful. Okay, I'm going to focus for a second because this is like the boss dude, and I am going to get absolutely stomped by Plague Boy here. So it does mean you do just focus down on the one or two things that you can do. And that isn't necessarily bad in and of itself, especially because like the repeating nature of the playthroughs does encourage you to kind of change up what you're doing each time, you know, try a different thing. But I personally do find it is quite repetitive, which once again is the nature of a roguelike. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a very good game for that purpose of like turning the sound off, you're listening to an audiobook, or you're listening to a YouTube or watching a movie. It's just one of those things that you can jump in for a run. You know the run's going to have a very finite limit. Like, I've got 3 minutes 30 no matter what happens here. So that is actually kind of satisfying in an interesting way, in that it means that if you are pushed for time, like, you know, you just want to... You just got home from work, you're about to cook dinner or something, and you don't want to commit to anything too big. You just want to have a quick wind down of, you know, one run through, and that's it. You have quite a solid understanding of how long that's going to go through. At most, it's your shot clock. It's your hell clock. So that's my descent. So I've just died. Gives me a summary of what I've got. I got 1,139 little gemstones, which I'll then be able to spend back at base. I've got a couple of relics, which will go into my relic store. These can also be kind of disassembled to get more gems. And I've got another blessed piece of gear, which is an amulet that I can kind of buy and equip. And that's it. That's the run. That's the kind of the way that works. And obviously, as you start to upgrade your gear and your abilities, you become a bit stronger each time. You are able to push further and further and further down into the level and go a bit deeper, uncovering new enemies, new bosses, kind of learning different ways. There are some abilities I believe you can get or unlock. I think it's in over here, sorry, in the bell. I think there's one down the red portal here, which is like 15% chance to spawn on known floors, allowing you to skip previously explored areas and progress further. So you can go down a respec that's going to put you in the spot where you just jump further down the dungeon to then be able to fight further on. I really like that conceptually. You'd have to be very overpowered to be able to do that, though, because you're obviously missing out on the whole loot progression up until that point. One thing that is worth noting is the skill tree does go down a relatively far way. Like, it's a pretty decent little progression system there. So there's quite a lot of different things to unlock and explore. All in all, it's quite a satisfying little title. There are some fun abilities that are really well designed. The loop is engaging and enjoyable. I don't know how long this would stick with you for, but so far I found it a really satisfying little experience to do a descent and leave it there. So really, what do I think of the game? As a demo, it's really well fleshed out. The art style is really well defined. And I like this kind of black edging that they've put on all the design and all the artwork. It really kind of gives this sort of, I guess, demonic kind of feel to things. And it's quite a cool look. I really like that highlighting. Sound design's good. The abilities feel quite punchy and like that they are quite responsive. So in terms of the technical aspects of the gameplay, it's fun. The time loop is interesting. It does add a slightly different element to the game. And so far for me, I haven't felt too put out by the fact that, you know, some of your runs end before you die. Like, it is annoying that, you know, you finish your descent without dying because, you know, you've just timed out. But it hasn't bothered me as much as what I thought it would. And I really did think that was going to be a big killer for me. But it hasn't really affected me that much in that way. In terms of the reliquary and these artifacts are pretty familiar with any kind of game in this sort of nature. I do hope they give you the option to kind of expand the amount of space that you have to equip these. I'm imagining that's probably in the skill tree somewhere down here. Yeah, here you go. Expand your equipped reliquary space. Because that makes sense to me. That feels like something that is required to really be able to, you know, flesh out your builds a little bit more. All in all, I would like to see... I think what I would like to see in this game that I feel would make a little bit more of a difference to me would be more abilities that used a different resource. So, like, if you look at all these different abilities that I've got here, for the most part, they either use mana... So the cooldown ones, I think, it's really what you're trying to balance, right? It's just cooldown versus mana expending abilities. The reason I say that is because you really want to have, like, I would like an attack like this that didn't drain my mana, for example. One that just kind of let me use it as a cooldown, so when I ran out of mana for my other ability, I was able to... Which, actually, this one might be. Yeah, it is. So this one's sort of that same thing. So when you run out of mana, you can use that and you've still got something there. I'm not quite sure how that would be implemented in an effective way, but what I'm just finding is at most I'm using 3 abilities. These other ones that I throw down, I'm just not really making the best use of, but that's probably just a me thing with the gaming style I'm playing with too. Anyway, this has been Hellclock. If you like these kind of like procedural roguelites that just a repeating loop, definitely want to keep an eye on. It is only a demo at the moment, but it is still available post Next Fest. I've got the link below. This has been Sidequest Gaming. Thank you so much for spending the time with me. I really do appreciate it. Trying to release a video every single day, so like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my content. As always, have an amazing day, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.